This is the TCL Next Paper 70 Pro, and if you're a Kindle user, you may have just found your new replacement, because with the flick of a switch, this will change from a standard smartphone to an e-ink display and an e-ink reader. But that flick of that switch, is it a gimmick, or is it some genuinely useful functionality here? Let's find out. So there are plenty of components when it comes to the display of the TCL 70 Pro, and mainly there are two functions here. The traditional is a 6.9-inch IPS LCD display or 120 Hz. So you don't get the benefits, brightness and crispness of an AMOLED, but you still get a really good vibrant display here, and video output in general and max brightness peaks at 900 nits, both of which are pretty acceptable. The other component is, of course, the e-ink display, which through that flick of the switch will get you that e-ink display. And you have a lot of the benefits here, including the ability to switch from a normal e-ink display, which is a max mode, to a colored display as well. There are, of course, significant benefits to something like an e-ink display, mainly in the comfort it gives to your eyes, which is really, really significant, because you don't have none of that super vibrancy hitting your eyes. If you're using this at nighttime to, for example, read a book or generally just browse a web, you can do it on the TCL 70 Pro without having it strain your eyes, which is super interesting. You also get the same functionality and gestures as you would on the traditional display on this phone, so you're not really losing out in any major way. On top of that, you do get a simplified UI if you're in max mode, so it limits the apps you can access and only gives you a handful of apps for distraction-free reading, which is significant. And then any navigation you do on, say, the color display is fast, smooth and efficient, just like the normal display. So those who are those e-ink display readers or just want to be a keen reader, it's significantly brilliant versus your standard smartphone display. The other thing with relation to the display is, if you look at the equivalent priced Poco or Nothing phone, you will get a more detailed, crisper, brighter, more vibrant display at around roughly the same price point, say for around about £20. But the benefit of this panel though versus those two is this is an anti-reflective coating, so it doesn't have any of that glare issue you would have if you used it outside, even in the brightest sunlight. And for those who are wanting to buy a big phone such as this and are heavy on content consumption, the 70 Pro does pack a 5200 mAh battery with 33 watts of wired charging. And when we ran this through 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme test, it used around about 7% battery, which is in line with what a normal testing is. Sometimes that does hit double digits, most times it hovers around the 5 to 9%, so you're pretty much in line with that. However, the significance here is if you use the standard display, which is having around about 20% off as we've shown in the B-roll here, you still get around about 4+ hours worth of screen on time, and it can deviate based on your various modes to get even more screen on time, which is significant. But if you switch the e-ink display on and use that and charge it to 100%, you'll actually get 7+ days of usage in mixed mode. So if you're using predominantly e-ink display and some of your normal phone, you'll probably get around about 7 days, which is insane. And don't forget, this is still a phone at its core. The rest of the phone, thankfully, is just as viable as your normal standard day-to-day smartphone. So gaming on here, on games like Asphalt 8, work really, really well, fast, smooth, and looks pretty good as well, and actually sounds pretty decent. In fact, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on the sound output of the 70 Pro. The performance of the 70 Pro is powered by 8GB of RAM, that's the only option you have, and a Dimensity 7300. And that CPU will actually do a really good job of navigating all your core functionality, things like online scrolling, swiping pages on your books, etc. work really, really well and super fluid, and is one of the greatest advantages over something like a Kindle, because that is traditionally quite slow and cumbersome, not only to carry, but to navigate the menus when you are reading. Also, the OS. Now, this is pretty much stock Android. It will run until Android 19, so again, roughly around 3 to 4 years, depending when you buy the phone, of OS support, which is pretty good. And there is some good and some bad. There's limitations on customization. So normal Android lock screen customization options are pretty bare minimum on here. You can download themes, etc., which is absolutely fine. But then you do get some AI benefits like AI writing or translation, which is pretty decent. It does, however, on the OS front, lack that richness in terms of detail and functionality that you get on other OSs, such as the Poco HyperOS and the Nothing OS will be a lot more detailed in what they offer. Keeping with the OS theme, you actually get a dedicated section in the settings called Next Paper Zone. Now, this is essentially where your hub will be for your e-ink display that allows you to customize it, for example, to default to color mode or max mode or normal e-ink mode. But also within this, you get an icon menu that allows you to customize how much you actually use your phone on a daily basis and put stops in place. Great for yourself to personally limit your screen on time. Also great if you're giving this to, say, a child and they want to read and use the phone, you can limit the usage that way as well. The Next Paper 70 Pro does of course have two dual cameras on the rear. You get a 50 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and you even get video at 4K, which actually looks pretty good, all things considered. But it's the main lens that is obviously the key thing here. 50 megapixel sensor, as we mentioned, delivering pretty decent, pleasing images with a nice balance of colors and sharpness. There is a slightly oversaturated look to them, but as can be expected, that is just a natural way with some budget phones. The downside of this, of course, is that 8 megapixel ultra wide. It's usable, but I wouldn't really rely on it a lot, and you are going to get a lot softer, less detailed image versus the main lens. All in all, I would say I was pretty satisfied with the cameras on the 70 Pro, considering they're more than likely the afterthought when it comes to the highlight feature of this phone. So to sum up, the 70 Pro is pretty simple. It's a basic phone that with a flip of a switch becomes essentially somewhat of a quote-unquote dumb phone. Now, I mean that in the most respectful manner, because it will limit all your social media contact and any messages you get from that, any distractions, and allow you to wind down or end your night on a good book, or even unwind with a good book via your phone, and still has all of the other benefits of a smartphone as well. Generally speaking, though, the 70 Pro is a pretty good device. Would you replace your Kindle? I think if you're in the process of buying one, why not merge the two into one and get one device that gives you the Kindle functionality as well as full smartphone functionality. Personally, use it in color mode. It is the most satisfying to use. And then if you wanted to limit your applications, stick in max mode. But let us know in the comment section below. If you're a Kindle user, would you replace that with something like this and have the hybrid of 2-in-1? Let us know below. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, as always, we out.